I found it on Rhema Radio.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us here at Rhema Radio. I am Doreen Tang and I have here in the studio with me this morning Reverend Elisha Satvinder. If that name seems familiar to you, it is because he's the co-founder of Dignity, a movement to provide education and holistic development to underprivileged children. Reverend, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Please give us your elevator speech about Dignity.
Elevated. I often say one thing. Dignity is not about a person or a few people. Dignity is about a lot of people. It's about community.
Okay.
Not just the community that we work with. We've worked with over 7,000 children now. But Dignity is about, and you when you introduced me, it's co-founder, my wife and I.
Yes.
So together. So that the beginning itself is not a person, huh? And the different people, I often say it's a journey, it's a tapestry. It's a tapestry of beautiful threads and colors where each one brings and adds on to this beautiful picture that God is weaving.
So let's just get into the details here. Dignity provides education for underprivileged children. How does this whole framework work?
You know, we never started out wanting to do education. Our story is this actually. Both Patrina and I had come back from the States from studying. And when we came back after a few months, we actually decided to start a church. And we started a church in my mother's living room in Jalan Ipoh. Yeah.
What do your mom
Just
think
four
about
of
it?
us. Well, she had no choice. Huh? So anyway, she was my first church member.
Oh, Mom, here's our congregation
Ma'am,
today.
and you're part of it, Mom. So we just started with a handful of people, and then we just started renting hotels around that area.
Okay.
Be it Grand Pacific or First Business Inn, Vistana, different places, different issues. But if you remember, there were flats called Pakililing flats.
Yes, I do actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we encountered the children there, we realized, because Patrina would work with the children, and she realized they could hardly read and hardly write, which means they cannot understand the Word of God, which means they are going to be lagging behind in life, which means that cycle will be repeated because you call it learned helplessness. The parents already go through that. And because the parents are in such a dire need, it perpetuates to the children and one generation after that. So Patrina felt very anxious about this. And we tried various things. It'll be better to hear her tell her story that way. I will spoil it. And that drove her on this journey as well, on how, we need to get these children educated. So she put herself back to school. She started learning Montessori. By the way, we put the first Montessori for the poor, not just in Malaysia, in the region here. So it's first Montessori for the poor. And so as we begin to engage the poor, primarily it was we wanted to say was, we want you to be able to read and write so that you can make some headway in life. That was the seed beginning of Dignity. We never called it Dignity. We never called it anything. It was just part of what we did as our church work.
Just to help children.
Just to help children. It was for two times a week, 3 times a week, maybe 2 hours. Those who are going to school, help them with their homework, help them understand that. That's how it started.
And then the numbers just grew and grew. And how many do you have now?
Well, beyond the numbers, actually, not so much it grew. We, as they often say, you open up a can of worms. Because when you work with them, you get to know their families. When you see the condition of their families, then you ask yourself some very hard questions. What do I want to do? Well, I just put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound? Or am I going to treat the wound and say, I want to heal this wound? So that started that. Today we have worked with over 7,000 children, I would say. Currently, our intake every year starts with over 1,000 students. So from preschool, toddler, right up till Form 5, and we've gone into the whole social enterprise, IGCSE, vocational training, skills development. So we've got a whole array of things. But it started with that little seed.
Where's the school right now?
It's in Central Raya Boulevard.
Okay, and you were describing to me, what are the premises like?
These are actually office premises, you know. We rent 32 floors.
Oh my goodness me.
In 8 different units.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I shouldn't say we rent all of them, because there's some people who are very kindly given us to use some of the floors for free.
How do children qualify to be enrolled with this program, with Dignity?
Starting point, you must be poor.
Yeah. So, but you know, you just are these kids usually in other forms of school, or no, not at all?
It's a few issues here. When we started, it was engaging children from the squatter community. Either they stop going to school, or they go to school once in a while. It was really getting their younger ones in, because they couldn't really afford to go to preschool. Just getting them, helping them through that. When we put that into place, then we realized we started encountering kids who have been out of school, and parents never really, they register them but never get them into school. So we started working with these groups of people to realize that there are much more problems to that. So we started adding primary 1, primary 2, primary 3.
And what syllabus are you using?
Malaysian syllabus.
Okay.
It's a Montessori philosophy that we use. The preschool is all Montessori, but the moment they get into primary 1, it's Malaysian syllabus, but with the Montessori philosophy.
So we're just going to go for a short break, and after this we'll be right back with more questions about dignity.
Rhema Radio.
Welcome to St. Paul's Theological College. SPTC is an exciting new college in the heart of Kuala Lumpur, where Christians of all denominations can come and train for Christian ministry and study theology. At SPTC, we do our theology in the context of worship. We do our theology in the context of the local churches, and we do our theology as part of a learning community. We are affiliated with St. Mellitus College in London, which is widely regarded as one of the most exciting and innovative places to study theology and train for ministry. We're dedicated to helping Christians explore their faith deeply through academic excellence and a focus on missional leadership. And so we offer you a model of training that will fit around your busy lifestyle.
Hi everybody, I'm Archbishop Mun Hing. I welcome you to St. Paul's Theological College. If you love Jesus, if you want to know Him more, you want to be like Christ, then I encourage you to learn the Bible biblically, theologically, and correctly.
Is God calling you? To explore further or apply online, check out our website, sptc.my.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we are with Pastor Satvinder, and we are talking about Dignity, his organization that provides education and holistic development to underprivileged children. Now, Pastor, just to continue from our previous question, you know, your memory bank must be full of faces, stories from 18 years of
Too
Dignity's journey. Share some with us. Share some special ones with us.
I often say, you know, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. When people come and visit Dignity now, they see many classrooms, things done well, wonderful teachers, engaging students in uniforms, cafes, all kinds of things. I call it a Kodak moment. Those of us who are listening or older, you will understand what is Kodak moment. It's just one picture taken, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. It just captures a moment, but you don't see what has happened, what has taken place. The many stories to celebrate, but I think never forgetting the painful ones, which actually inspire you to do better, which tell you there's so much more to do, and never take things for granted. We've seen students who have come in unable to read and write at 10 years old, today in university. We've seen students who've my lives just messed up. Today married, holding jobs, and have started families. So those are things that we celebrate. And as I said earlier, they are also on a journey, and we are in that journey with them. And that journey is developing, it's maturing. Some of them are making sense of that journey. We can call it life, we can call it whatever you want to. Dignity is a continuous journey. Of course, till we say, as Christians will say, till the Lord returns.
Some of those children, who have graduated from Dignity or who have in some way been impacted by Dignity, do they come back?
Some actually work with us, and they do come back and visit us. One of these girls, actually, bright girl, just very difficult situation, ended up going to Australia. Whole family ended up going to Australia. She did so well in college, university. The university brought her back, and they visited Dignity.
Just to see what was going on.
Just to see where she came from. And they brought a bunch of students. And she actually addressed the whole student body, the older student body.
Wow. So that was one of the golden moments.
Oh, wonderful moment. Wonderful moment.
And earlier you mentioned about staff. I was going to ask you this. Who are the staff? How do you recruit teachers? I'm guessing. I've never visited Dignity, but I'm guessing there must be a lot of people behind it.
Many people behind it. We have a staff right now, about 100 people. 60% are teachers. We hire teachers, we hire staff, those who have the credentials. We also get people from different parts of East Malaysia, different parts of Malaysia. It's a program where we bring them in, we train them up, and we raise scholarships so they can even go to college here to pick up the skill as a teacher. We have our own in-house training. Some of the students that have come out from Dignity, we put them through a training process, and they become teachers, or they become different office. They work in different parts of the office. So this is very broad strokes that way. So it's hiring, it's developing, it's building. So it's a few things that we do that way.
Right. So you've gone through many years of this now. Tell us about another very important aspect, fundraising.
Okay.
You're laughing.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
I'm guessing this is going to be a very long answer. No, take your time.
No. All of you listening, just send your money. Okay, no.
So how do you do it? How do you do it? Because something like this is so difficult to fund.
You've got theology and you've got neology. You drop on your knees and pray very hard every day.
I was thinking neology. I was thinking in my head N-E-O.
Yeah. K-N-E-E. Yeah. So we've got a fundraising. Now we've got a fundraising team. Those days primarily it was Patrina and me, and then just me, and then we just got somebody coming in and then developing a team that way. We have a direct mailers that we use, word of mouth. We try to engage the corporate. There are a few churches who engage with us, but it's an everyday affair.
But now it sounds like, and I'm just having this Kodak moment in my mind right now, because now it sounds like you've got a well-oiled machinery fundraising thing going on, whereas previously it wasn't quite the case.
Still need more oil.
But when you first started this out, when you and Patrina first started this out, how did you fund it?
When we started, the church paid me a few hundred ringgit. And it would come in one hand, it will go out the next hand. When we took the first 4 floors in Central Raya, we slept on the floor. Yeah.
We?
My wife, me.
And your kids?
And the kids. And then we used to get the other kids in as well. So the weekends we will all stay there. People very graciously, different friends who allowed us to use their place for a home for free. And some of the kids that we were engaging from the low-cost flats, we actually fostered them. The parents couldn't handle them. They all stayed with us. So right from the beginning, I had 12 people staying with me. On the weekends, we would stay back in the church where we were doing the school. So it was always makeshift, every day, really trusting God like crazy. $50 was like $500.
Just stretching every ringgit.
Every cent. Not ringgit, cent.
50. You only have 50.
Yes.
Stretch every cent.
Yeah, and I think those are valuable experiences, valuable lessons. because you don't take things for granted. You never undervalue. Somebody who gives me 1 million and somebody who gives me 10 ringgit is the same, because they are adding a great value to the work and the child and the life of a child. That's the difference for us, for Patrina and me.
Right. And who are the donors at the moment? I mean, these come from churches, these come from NGOs, these come from just people that you know in the street, your neighbors.
Very few churches are involved with it.
Okay.
Friends, family. But like I said, there are a lot of people through direct mailing. We don't even know. It is some widow, some housewife, some elderly uncle, auntie, some office worker, a different lady. This array of people, I call them our unsung heroes.
Wow.
Our unsung
So this is really
heroes.
like Malaysians on the street who
Yes.
many of the times, they just donate in bits and pieces, and it all adds up to this
All
budget
adds up to
that
this
runs dignity.
dignity. Yes, we have corporates coming in. We have these different people coming in. They sometimes give really for focused projects, but it's these people on the ground, your everyday regular people who make dignity work every day.
Okay, now Pastor, just hang on to that for a minute. We're going to go for another quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Rhema Radio. The great I am, you are. The risen Lord, you are. The holy and anointed one, you are. Jesus, you are. The first and last, you are. The awesome God, you are. The Son of Man, the Son of God, you are. Jesus, you are. You are the bright and morning star. You are the bread that satisfies. You are the love that fills my heart. Jesus,
As part of their Worship Nights Asia Tour, join Bethel Music live in KL on March 19th, 7:30 p.m. at PGRM. Led by Brian Johnson, Jeremy Riddle, Josh Baldwin, and the rest of the Bethel team. Let's heaven come as we join our hearts together and pursue God in praise and worship. Get your tickets at tkt.my/Bethel Worship Nights.
We are still with Pastor Satvinder, who is the co-founder of Dignity. Now, Pastor, before we went on our short break, you were talking about the unsung heroes in Malaysia who helped to fund Dignity all these years. Tell me a bit more about them.
These are wonderful people that have never laid eyes on us, and neither us. We've not laid eyes on them. They've never seen the children. They've heard of the program. They've heard of the school. And they get our mailers. Petrina writes a true story of a child, a different child every time. And they read those stories and they trust you with that. So beyond being unsung heroes, they actually contribute with great value. Even though it's 5 ringgit, even though it's 50 ringgit, even though it's 5,000, they contribute to this great value of transforming a child's life. A child that they may never ever see, may never know, but they actually contribute. So they are more than unsung heroes. In one sense, they are these wonderful angels actually who contribute to a life of a child that will make it in life.
Okay, that's great. And in the interest of good financial governance, is Dignity audited?
Yes, we've got external auditors, and we are also in partnership with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UN as well. So whatever contributions they may make, it's all audited by their auditors. So it helps us with good governance, it helps our integrity, it helps transparency, and it just adds this whole place of where people trust you because they know it's not just a fly-by-night thing.
And it's actually going to somebody, right? So you've got a board, you've got...
I've got a board of trustees, and there's a whole... we've got lawyers and, accountants.
Yeah.
And they keep you on the straight and narrow. And
That's
they're
good.
good people,
They keep you
but
on your
they are
toes.
people of integrity.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Now, on the personal front, tell us a bit about your family, your wife, your 2 daughters.
My wife, Petrina.
Yes.
Petrina comes from Bachok, Kelantan, a small town. And Davina, our oldest daughter, turns 20 in a week's time. And
Happy
Hannah,
birthday! Oh, well, I don't know when this will air, but happy birthday, Davina.
And Hannah, who just turned 18 at the end of December.
Yes.
Both are in university.
Uh-huh.
And they have been wonderful, contributors to the work. They've accepted the people, the children. They've accepted everybody.
So your 2 daughters, I'm almost trying to imagine, these children who come through Dignity, they're almost like an extended family.
They are. Petrina and I foster about 17 other children. So either, parents who are not there for them, seriously dysfunctional
And these are
homes.
kids who are not in Dignity.
Some of them are in Dignity. The others, some have started working.
Right.
Some are in the private schools or government schools. They come from all various backgrounds, walks, and they just have a serious need for people.
The bottom line is they need help.
They need help, and they need
Love
a
and
mom and a
support.
dad there for them.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful testimony. Now, coming back to the money part, because that's important. That's important to keep these kind of things going. How do we, listeners, get involved with Dignity? I know what the current needs of Dignity are, funds.
Yeah.
But, tell us a bit more about how we get involved.
I would say a few things. Go to the website.
Okay, and that's www.dignityforchildren.org. Org is O-R-G. Again, that's www.dignityforchildren.org.
Yeah. We've got close to 1,000 students. We've got from toddlers right up to Form 5 with various skill sets and all that skill development. You can come and visit the school and decide you may want to sponsor a child for a year, or you may want to sponsor more than one child for a year or X amount of years. You may want to contribute towards books and uniforms for a classroom, for a standard. That's one thing to do. You may contribute towards, you can say, I am going to contribute fish. Every week, I'm going to buy X amount of kg of fish for the whole year. Because we feed over 500 of them daily. During lunch, actually even breaks. Because, an old African proverb says an empty stomach has no ears. And we discovered that actually, when we first started, they couldn't engage in class, they were sleeping. And then to discover, they actually lacked nutrition. So we started by giving vitamins. And when they come in, they would first have a meal. And after some times, our kids actually started putting on some weight. Because they got 2 hot square meals at school. Yeah, so I've got a crew of 4 cooks, 1 Buddhist, 1 Muslim, and they all cook. They cook up a storm for these kids.
It's a common cause. I mean, you just need to feed the kids. You need to feed the kids. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter what you believe. Just cook.
Just cook for them so they get regular fish and chicken.
Wow.
Enough of the carbohydrates, lots of vegetable, and they enjoy it. So you can contribute towards that. There's so many things to contribute towards.
Okay, so the first step for all us listeners is to get onto the website. Again, I just want to announce it as www.dignityforchildren.org. And, you can either visit, is what you said, or, you can just contribute online. I'm sure that's a facility to do that as well.
Yeah. But visit with the intention to contribute. No, you know why I say this very seriously? Sometimes people come in, oh, good, and then they go. So they take up your time. They can interrupt classes just to have a feel-good moment and then walk away and do nothing. I feel you demean the student, you demean the teacher. Some say it's a bit strong. Yeah, I will say that because it is a work of transformation. I think when we come, and especially if we are believers, come with a view to contribute, come to make a positive difference. Not just say, I visited this place.
Now, Reverend, I'm afraid we've come to the end of our program here. But before we close, is there something that you can share with everyone?
I would say one of the driving scriptures in my mind, in my heart, has been this, and from Proverbs says, he who gives to the poor lends to God. Now, those are one of the scriptures that really captivated my heart and my mind. Who are the poor that God would say that if you gave something to them, you contributed to something in their life, I owe you something. The value that God brings to the marginalized is amazing. So I would pray for all of us to understand the value of the marginalized in God's eyes. And as we participate in this, amazingly God comes and participates even to a greater extent in our lives.
Wow, that's just wonderful. My hairs are all standing up. Thank you. Thank you for being here and for talking to us today, Reverend Elisha Satvinder. This has been Rhema Radio, and this is Doreen Tang signing off.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm from FJKL. Today I'm going to read a verse from Psalm 45 verse 1. My heart is stirred by a noble theme as I recite my verses for the King. My tongue is the pen of a skillful writer.
This segment's episode features music from Gabby Tam. Today's episode is recorded, edited and mixed by Moses Chan at Prodeo Studio. For more episodes, log on to Rhema Radio. That's RHEMARAD.io. Don't miss out on the sermon by Reverend Dr. Ng Swee Ming at Sungai Way Subang Methodist Church in the next segment.
I found it on Rhema Radio.